underway. Duncan, map choices here?
This is a tough one because on the side of Heroic, since they've changed so many players and they don't have Snappy, they're not the same team. They used to be a team that loved like Nuke, Cobblestone, a little bit of Train, depending on what's going on. You look on the MVP side of things, they like Cash. They can definitely play Nuke themselves, so Nuke may yet be like the third map here. I think that would actually be a fair enough one. They've chosen to ban it themselves. So in terms of these, I would say overall, pretty decent for MVP.PK actually. These seem like maps they can play. For the Heroic side of things, I mean, everyone plays Mirage pretty much. It's also the new Mirage, so who knows, maybe they've had a little bit of time themselves to work with that. I'd still say Heroic are favoured in the series, so I think they're happy enough with this map, Vito.
I think so. So Heroic typically actually lets Inferno slip through, but MVP always picks Inferno, so they kind of flip-flop between Cash and Inferno. They're still an excellent team on Cash. They took out Energy recently on it. That's a huge scalp to take based on Energy's recent form. Mirage is definitely a map that Heroic enjoys. Not necessarily the best on, though.
Yes.
It's weird. They pick Mirage a lot, but they lose on it. So they just...
It was the same actually when they had Snappy. He used to, what I used to say to him was like, you know what, you've done a great job with this team. You've got an underdog team. You've gotten really good on Nuke and Cobble, and you're pretty good on Train. He'd go, and Mirage. I'd go, well, let's not get crazy. Okay? I was trying to give you a compliment. Why are you going mad telling me you're good on all the maps? So some teams are just like that, you know, in their own heads or in practice maybe it does work. But you're right, in game you think, you don't even win the most.
But isn't it about feel sometimes, Sean? Like the team will go, yeah, no, we feel good on this map, but actually the results don't bear that out. Is that something that happens to you?
Yeah, one of my teams in the past was infamous for doing this on Inferno. You know, we would be insane on scrims on Inferno. We would never lose on Inferno in boot camp against, you know, the top European competition. We go to LAN, we lose every single match, and it's very hard to get out of that mindset of just stop picking Inferno, just stop letting it through. And Duncan would notoriously just destroy us for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a hard hole to find yourself in, honestly. It's difficult.
Okay. This MVP side obviously is very experienced. We've spoken about them a little bit yesterday and in the pre-show today. They're going to need all of that experience. They've been very good locally in Asian tournaments. They've won a couple already in 2018, but every time they've gone outside of that, they seem to falter. What is that? Because there's no lack of experience in this team.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say with it because they're tactically. I think a lot like some of the teams in the Asia region, they fall apart like late game. Their late game communication and ideas in clutch situations just aren't there. But tactically, early round, they're getting the picks. They're setting up. Smoke executes well. They're getting map control. But I think that's where they need to focus and fix their errors.
This is where, even though they have experience, the problem is some of their experience is 1.6 experience. It's not like they've played 6 years of CSGO. So unfortunately, when you see them like in a 14-14 game, where if you're watching it, you're hyped, like, hey, they could do the upset here. That's where you'll see them lose, because unfortunately, the top pros, people who are veterans like Snacks, actually know it's not about making a crazy play in that scenario. It's usually about just being composed. And if you just do all right and you hide in a weird spot, or you kind of like dare the other guy to do something, if he's just trying to frag people, basically, you don't tend to win the clutch round situations from there. The best clutch players aren't the guys with the craziest aim, generally. So I feel like that's one of the areas where, unfortunately, inexperience can bite you, obviously. You haven't been in that spot a million times. You yourself are getting hyped about thinking you're going to get this upset, and all of a sudden, you're in a 4v2 and you lose it, and you're mentally broken.
Yeah. You've lived in Korea. You've spent
yes.
time there. You understand the ethos that they have out there for training and boot camps and learning esports and playing from a very young age. They're super successful across a wide range of games, from League of Legends to Overwatch to StarCraft. Why not CS? Why is it never really? Because we've had two good teams in the past,
in the old days,
but they've not really got to the very top and dominated for any period of time.
Well, I would actually go the other way on this. I would say the very fact that this team gets to some of the tournaments and that you sometimes will see them playing and sometimes have a chance to even get out of the minor, perhaps, is a sign of how good Koreans are at games, because no one in Korea plays Counter-Strike. I'm telling you this. I was there. They didn't even have a server when I was there. When I would click on matchmaking, I would be getting routed to Singapore and the ping would be insanely high and no one there was speaking Korean. So then when I would go to the PC bangs, there used to be like 10 on my road because they're everywhere there. I never ever saw a person play Counter-Strike. And in fact, when you go to the machine, it didn't have Steam on it. I would go there, there'd be Crossfire, which is like their version of Counter-Strike. There'd be Sudden Attack, this was another one. They're all like these Korean-made clones. Now, unfortunately, a factor with this is Koreans also, when they can, like to support Korean companies. So Crossfire is made by a Korean company, so they're all about that. You know, if they're going to play that, an FPS, they're going to play that. You've seen the games that have the big rollout and put their effort into Korea. So League of Legends, StarCraft, obviously, but more recently, Overwatch. Overwatch is fantastically popular there. Many amazing players, and it's an FPS game. And if you've seen some of the players in that game, Sire player, Fletter, they have amazing aim. Like, they could absolutely be amazing AWP players, snipers. Unfortunately, though, they just don't come into Counter-Strike. So I feel like it's like the talent just isn't in the game, unfortunately.
Okay. Prediction time. Sean, which way is this series going?
I'm going to go Heroic. I think probably 2-1. Actually, I think MVP can steal cash. So I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay. Duncan?
Yeah, I'm also going to go 2-1. I think the problem in this one is the maps don't really heavily favour one team or the other. I kind of agree with Sean. Like, it's kind of a weird pick in terms of Mirage. So I'll say 2-1 because I think just the quality of the players on Heroic should out.
Okay. All right, our predictions are pretty obvious. I think we thought it would be Heroic. There's a man in the commentary booth who I'm pretty sure doesn't want to curse any more Scandinavian teams, that's for sure. So he'll be staying quiet in terms of the predictions, one would assume. Let's hand you over to our commentators. It's in Vendetta and Anders.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, that does assume that I've learned anything at all, which
definitely haven't.
Definitely hasn't. So, yeah, it's going to be a good game, though. I kind of look forward to this one, actually. Should be interesting.
I'm super excited to see MVP play whenever we get to see them, especially because usually there's such a long span between every time we get to see the top dogs of the Asian scene really play international competition. But every time we've done so, they've made immense strides towards improving. And I think that's just been a continuous trend as well. We see Tyloo actually being a mainstay in that sense, or becoming a mainstay at a lot of tournaments and actually doing damage. So I'm hoping to see the same from MVP.
I mean, look at this madness already taking over the window room with a lot of people, which can actually be really powerful. Heroic obviously playing on the T side here. We're after a really, really quick start. The bomb is down. It's a 5-on-5, and Heroic look to be in a great position right now. I don't know how MVP are going to be able to crack this one. Very hard to get in when you don't have that window room control. See, Sign is already leading the charge, just hoping. They're looking for anybody, but they're sort of on the bomb side. They just can't find any players. Now the smoke is up and diffusing inside, not even going to get close to happening. Kills are happening left and right. Seth going to pick up one there on Rubino, but still Sign dropping low. They can't get that defuse in, and Seth is going to fall eventually. So Heroic will pick up the pistol win. That's a big beginning for them.
I do love the intent from MVP, though. Initially, they set it for a retake, but because of the aggressive positioning that Heroic's taken, they realized that we can't play a normal retake like we would have planned to. So they have the smoke, they have the diffuse kit on solo. They literally set up like a mini meat shield of the surrounding players to just get around solo in order to cover for him, and it kind of works out. I mean, he gets onto the diffuse, gets about halfway through or so. Before it actually gets taken out. But like the idea from MVP, considering the situation they found themselves in, probably the best option they had, which wouldn't work out. But
yeah, I mean, you can, especially with the diffuse kit, you can get lucky, and even if you know the bomb is planted, you can't obviously know which side people are diffusing on. Like we've seen that before, where people get confused and just miss like 10, 20 shots in a row.
And it gets worse for the T's as well. Like the more shots you miss, like you're not getting any sound keys, you're not seeing blood spatter out of the smoke or something. Like you start to panic.
Yeah,
100%, and your bullets start firing faster, it's less accurate, and all of a sudden the round's over. I think we need to note the fact that, obviously, we talked about MVP showing progress and so on. They have made a roster change since we saw them last time around at Star Ladder, and that's Mini Zeta, the opera for, I want to say they were called Gosu 5.
Yeah, I think the
second best South Korean team. They have pretty much been like a straight-up swap for HSK. And I would say that HSK probably was the weak link in that team as well. So I'm excited to see what Minizeta was able to do. Because back when we had the Asian Miner in Seoul, he was one of the players, at least, that actually made any sort of impression on me outside of the usual 5.
Great right now for them. Sign going to be picking off one, but Solo got the other one, and Glow, I think, picked up a kill. Actually, a double kill for him now. It's looking so much better. Heroic with mid control and with connector control, which is almost everything that you could want, but still, they managed to funnel their way into a bit of a crossfire and should be able to pick up one kill here. I don't know how many Setter is still alive. That's actually amazing. The bomb is obviously down in the middle of the bomb side or towards Sandwich anyway, so good job here from S-Tag, doing a little bit of damage, but time is simply going to run out, so, whoa, dangerous for Modi as well. Could have gone down there. That's an almost unforgivable giveaway for Heroic.
Yeah. But we've seen that a lot. Like,
yes.
we were so excited to see the ZZ being nerfed, but it's just been more prevalent than ever. I'm actually struggling to think of teams that would have actually been able to win their second round at this point.
Yeah, we had that.
In NIP versus in the NIP game, they would constantly get reset after winning Pistol. Happened to NIP Navi as well, if I'm not mistaken. Happened today. Yeah. Starting off on the right foot in that sense.
It's become a theme at this point.
Yeah, it really has. And something that's also a theme with this MVP team is that they love their SMGs. Now with the lowered cost on the MP7 as well, they used to go with the MP9 quite a bit, oftentimes Byron as well. Might see more MP7s coming into play.
So, Heroic, I think they wanted to try and find a way through, but the counter smoke was just too powerful. And the Korean team not flinkering around, not waiting for anything to happen. It's actually quite proactive at top mid, and obviously even there, really good job on Seth running in there, being aggressive. And they're going to get just the one loss on their side. So, great round here for MVP.PK. That's going to be 2-1 in their favor.
And for those who, I guess, haven't followed CS for that long, obviously on the disc you talked about how Asian CS hasn't necessarily been at the forefront for quite some time, but they did have their moments back in, if you want to go back 10+ years.
We do want to go back.
Yeah, and some of the players, we have 3 of the players actually in action right now in Solo, Glow, and Zeph. And back then, Solo was by far the best Korean player. Like, he's one of the best Asian players of all time to ever touch the game with Counter-Strike. But in this team, it's actually one of his older teammates, Zeph, who I would say is probably the most exciting player out of the 3. Him and Zion on this side are probably the 2 heaviest hitters. And they've been doing remarkably well for themselves as well. Like, they've been going up like toe-to-toe with international competitions the last few times we've seen them, which is really, really cool to see.
Yeah, so no, don't underestimate them, even if you don't get to see them play that often. This round, though, we can't expect too much out of Heroic. They really don't have much to play around with here, and MVP could just play this one easy, and they don't have to take many big risks to get anything on the board. So just hold the angles, and they should be fine.
Could actually like keep Mini Zeta and Glow away as much as possible to see if you can rack up some extra cash on the SMGs.
Yeah. I've got to say this as well, just because it's finally time. Oh,
that's one way to get money.
Yeah. Could have just done it with the MP set, with the MP9, but I guess the knife will do just fine. Body will get 1 kill. They shouldn't be losing many more players in this scenario. Solo could probably just walk away and leave it to the rest of the team.
He's going to join in on the fun.
Yeah, why not? I've got to say this. I am kind of excited that Freiburg is back and playing as well.
Oh,
like, I haven't actually got to
fun.
cast Heroic yet with the Freiburg lineup, so I'm kind of excited.
I haven't been able to cast Heroic with Rubino in the lineup. I mean, to be fair, this is kind of hard to cast any Heroic lineup because they seemingly change for every event.
They do quite a lot, don't they?
They keep things unpredictable.
They've become the weird farm team that people sort of steal from. And you talked about the firepower on MVP, but I mean, I think on this team, maybe Nico is the Danish Nico is one of the ones that really is worth watching.
Definitely so. The one thing that's been kind of disappointing to me about Nico really as a player is that when he first came out and started playing at the very top level, he was such a bright light. Normally when you see, especially Danish players, do that kind of thing in I guess newer teams on the scene, they become a mainstay really. They become a device. They become a Dupree. They become someone that you hear about non-stop really, and they just never really let go of they never have any sort of hold to their progression. I feel like that has actually happened to Nico, but his peak level is absolutely insanity. He can be such an amazing player, but again, it's like that key to finding consistency that is evading him.
Yeah,
as of
especially
right now.
for young players, that could be a problem, right? We'll see if it's going to be different in this tournament. A great opening here for Modi. I do like the idea of sneaking up into the hallway and just sort of lurking in that kill. Obviously, they weren't ready for it, but it's a good return for Glow. He was just ready for it, and the only downside is they're a bit nervous about having 2 people on this bomb site because it does give up mid control, so you can see them sort of shuffling about a bit. They're actually calling this rotation great. MVP, they know what's coming. Glow almost getting that kill, but unfortunately for them, Freiburg and Marino got 2 in return. Solo picking up 1 with the AWP, but look at the damage that's been output here to Heroic. This might still be doable for the CT side. Sneaking in while Scope, the C-Set 75 is out, but S-Tag is going to be there to pick up the kill on Solo. And, oh man, you kind of wish they could go and get that AWP, but it's just not possible. And Rubino is going to be there waiting, so Heroic actually win that round, but I think actually MVP knew pretty early on what was going on. Like, they had a rotation leaning that way.
Yeah, they were sort of again, it could very easily swing, right? Glow does great initial damage on the first player to come out of B-Apps, doesn't get the kill, which is obviously a downside. Then even when he swings over to get the white pick towards the people coming in from Catwalk, he barely wins, or nearly wins that duel as well. If he gets those 2 kills, obviously it's a very different scenario altogether. I think the first rotation, which I think it was Zeph actually, He was the first to rotate in. If he's able to, again, find one frag, that's pretty much all the MVP needed to kind of justify an attempt at a retake there. And they definitely would have been within a chance.
Well, in spite of losing so many people, they still are able to buy in this round. Although the utility is obviously completely miserable, which for retakes, I think, especially on Mirage, is something that you don't want. Really careless. He had the AWP as well. S-Tag playing at a slight off angle, but not that uncommon. Minisetter obviously not having a good time here. Inside of the smoke, trying to fight his way. If he can get a kill, or even just stay alive, that would be great. But his whole team is pretty much gone, and yeah, not going to be any chance at all. They seem like a functional unit at the moment, Heroic. You can tell that they're sort of just covering each other in a basic way. And Glow, I don't think he can accomplish much right now.
No, it's going to be tough to do. Like, it's even going to be hard to just hold on to his weapon. I guess the one saving grace here might be the fact that Heroic aren't too interested in actually hunting. Maybe Freiburg goes for it. We'll be able to buy up in the next round all on his own in any case, but I know he seems pretty content with just hanging out. But yeah, like speaking of, you know, Heroic, obviously they lost Snappy, they lost Yugi. That's their best player and also their in-game leader, which probably would crumble most teams. But I think it goes a long way having that kind of mentality instilled and having the approach to how you play the game being similar. I mean, coming from, like, if you've played with a Danish in-game leader like that or just played in the region for a significant amount of time, that does get ingrained in you, like the way you do things as a team, right? And I think that doesn't go away even though Snappy leaves.
It's obviously interesting because, you know, in-game leaders are so rare, but a lot of the time they do seem to be almost crafted by pure necessity, like, you know,
by force.
Yeah, somebody has to do it, right? So when Snappy leaves, it's kind of interesting to see what will happen to Heroic in that sense. Like, who's going to be the one to do it?
I would imagine it would be Madi, right? He's dabbled with it before.
That would make sense, and obviously the experience as well. I don't know what Freiburg was like in Source, but
definitely no. Freiburg when he went in Source was just, you know, your average teenager in that sense.
All right.
Not a lot of useful stuff coming out of his mouth. It's gotten better over the years, of course.
Fair enough. Well, Glow's going to be fractured with the M4. If it falls here, there is really nobody that can pick it up, but still, I don't really blame him for trying. It does. You do feel kind of useless if you're just waiting at an angle with the only rifle in the game, and then you know nothing happens in your position, and then that's just it. So it looks like they are going to be in a little bit of trouble here, just taking damage coming in through the connector, and they're actually heading to Glow's position, so we'll see how much he can do once they get close, although he does need Seth there. Glow with one big headshot taking down Nico. That's going to be a good start. Now they know where the rifle is, though.
Yeah, and you can see the rotation being made from Heroic as a result of that as well. Not really having, you know, any sort of vision of any of the bomb site, just knowing where the, I guess, most prominent danger is, you avoid it as best possible. They also get super good after-plant positions as well. You can see how far forward they are. They've got full control of the jungle with Madi here. Also got nice control over catwalk. So there's no real way for MVP to actually get close to a bomb site either. But in this kind of scenario, as you said, with Glow finding that one kill, they're going to be able to find an AK as well. So they're perfectly happy holding on to this.
It's also just a fun constellation. Obviously, Modi's been living in Denmark for a long time, and Rubino's had to stay there as well. Yeah. And so really the only one who might not be completely used to speaking Danish would be Freiburg. Yeah. But I met him at the airport, and he was happily speaking sort of Swedish to me. And the problem with that is I'm so bad at understanding Swedish. But we got along great.
Which is surprising because you understand Danish.
Yeah, which
should be so much harder. Yeah. Even though you're Danish.
And I can read Norwegian fine, but I can't understand anything that's being said. So it's just I'm useless in this context, which is obviously sad for Freiburg. But
yeah. No, I think Freiburg would adapt to that rather quickly. I know, like in the case of Rubino, he obviously there isn't an adaptation time, which is kind of awkward, but you get the hang of it pretty quickly. And it's something about being surrounded by the language, almost 24/7, right? That does speed up the progress of it. And just talking about progress, really, S-Attack is a player we haven't really mentioned. As Zion gets very aggressive in mid here, finds the opening frag for MVP. It's a nice little start. But S-Attack, right now, wielding the AWP, he's actually been a bit of a revelation, actually, because obviously he initially got benched from this Heroic lineup.
Yes.
Probably, I guess, the weakest link in terms of just player performances for a long time. But ever since he came back into the lineup, he's been one of their best performers in a big way. And he's been doing it with, non-traditional weapons for what he used to do initially. Obviously, it could have been off the back of, certain role changes and whatnot, but he's been wielding the AWP a whole lot more, especially with Yugi gone, and doing really well for himself as well.
It'll be fun to see if he can have a real impact. Although this round, MVP are doing a really good job. That aggressive push through, I think they even pushed through the T-smoke that went down, that classic sort of mid-T-smoke.
Yeah.
And they just didn't care. So Nico going to be the last one left as Mini Setter was pushed up all the way into the apartments, and could tell he just wasn't ready for it. So
Heroic actually just got picked off on opposite sides of the map, one by one by one. Like, they literally had nothing to work off of at any given point.
No, like, I mean, and that's obviously a little bit disheartening. At that point, especially if you're just running your default, you just want to be able to at least get that much in.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not even really trying to do anything apart from just establishing a little bit of control and figuring out what to do. Good headshot. And this, at least, in the very least, it makes it expensive. He's going to try and see if he can get down. He will get the bomb plant as well. So that's big news. Down he'll win the 1 versus 2. Indeed, Seth will take him down. It's very hard when you're stuck on top of the bomb, essentially. But still, it's overall a pretty good job. And I think he's going to run and steer it.
Grab it all? No.
Yeah, I was wondering. Just pick up a Molotov, I think.
Oh, there you go.
That's really forward
Oh,
thinking.
yeah, no, he does get an AWP as well.
Ah, fair play.
Yeah. Molotov was obviously the main objective.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I might as well pick up the AWP.
It's better than the incendiary grenade,
That means Solo probably will be able to pick it up. I'm not really sure how they're going to actually do this going forward on the MVP side. If obviously we see teams, at times go into double op setups. I'm not sure if that's something they feel comfortable with, but if I'm not mistaken, Minis that are used to opt for this Gosu team that he played in previously. That again, I saw him doing it the Asian Minor back in Seoul, which it's starting to be some time ago, so that might have changed completely. But they did swap him out for HSK.
Yeah, and it could be map specific as well. I mean, especially Mirage, some main AWPers don't like to AWP on this map for whatever odd reason. So we'll see how it goes. Look, great flashbangs into the middle. Nobody can see anything. Oh, he's right in the middle of the smoke, but Freiburg must have spotted just a little bit of him. Another kill coming in from Freiburg, making it a quick double. S-Tag following up, and Mini Setter trying to stay alive on the bomb side, but he was getting flanked from every angle. And that is such a quick execute for Heroic. I don't think MVP even got any chance to really have any reasonable communication about what was going on.
Yeah, no, they were not ready for that at all. I like the kind of a little bit deeper of a smoke as you see there at top. I'm not sure if that's Heroic putting it down, but I would imagine so. But yeah, a little bit deeper smoke from Connector just allows them to get even further in by the steps and so on without being noticed. But I'm kind of curious about what Solo's thought process was there, because he's already been stuck in Connector, and he waited so long to initially make a move, run away, reposition to anything like that, and he just waits till he gets splashed a second time before he actually makes a move, and it just drops straight forward into the staircase.
Oh. Nice control for Muddy. Shots that sort of where people run under you are just so hard to hit, right?
Because you can't adjust at all.
Like, there's something about the pivot point of the actual mouse on the screen just means it's very hard to do that. So not bad at all. I think I've expressed this a couple of times, but I've just been very impressed with Muddy's ability to come back and play this game. Because obviously from 1.6 and his staying Fnatic and stuff like that, I was obviously thinking that this is going to be great with him going into Global Offensive. And honestly, I think it was disappointing for like the first, I don't know.
4 years?
Yeah, something like that. Like, literally just a long ride of disappointment. And I had just given up on him at that point. I thought, this is it,
Because it's very hard, especially because what kind of a player he was in 1.6. He was probably one of the best, if not the best, fragger at the end of 1.6. And that's not saying, nothing. That's an incredible feat. So you'd imagine that's the kind of translation he's going to make into CSGO.
Yeah.
Might not be, the world's best player, the best fragger just right off the bat, but that's the kind of path you're setting him on. Instead, he's turned in now over time into a completely kind of different beast. Now he's more of like the lurking, calming presence in the team. That
it's the stability now that really gets me. It's like he's just all the time there doing really good stuff. And if you remember as well, like the first 4 years of Global Offensive, he was like unable to get onto any teams because he had this reputation of being incredibly toxic, which may have even been true. But whatever has happened to him in the meantime, he's obviously improved, and it's just an interesting story.
Grown up a bit.
Yeah, it's grown up a bit. Everyone should be allowed to do that,
All right, this is cool. Heroic practiced. Obviously, skyboxes have been removed on this version of Mirage, so seemingly they have something to do.
Glow actually somehow intercepting that push. There is a guy that made it past, and Rubino's down on the bomb side trying to see if he could maybe still crack it open. Freiburg will have opened up a kill there on Miniseta, and Rubino's still holding the B bomb side, and all of the players there, while MVP now realizing, I mean Solo realizing, hold on, we've been duped. That was an incredible fake.
That's a really cool fake, and obviously that was done with smokes without any help with the skyboxes.
Yep.
But it's also a fake that we saw. I think the first team we saw ever do this on Mirage was G-Play. Or I guess they might have been G-Pro at that time. The Bulgarian squad with Bubble, Victor, and Spy Leader, and those guys. They did it versus Envious at Star Ladder in, I want to say, 2015. They'd run this like double. They'd run a fake where they basically deploy 2 players off of the back of a ton of smokes onto the B bomb site, and have the 2 of the players go through underpass, 1 lurker and Palace as well. So the lurker and Palace's job, as the rotation comes in to respond to the fake on B, he's going to have any pickoff point from people holding close to connector, which allows for the people coming through underpass to kind of get a clear passage. It's a super cool strat, and we saw it being extremely efficient for the Bulgarians for quite some time as well, until they actually got their win versus Envious and like started making a bit of a name for themselves to the point where people actually had to look into what they were doing, and then we never really saw it all that much afterwards. It's a really hard thing to execute as well. Yes. And obviously it just looks even more dominant when Rubino is able to just clear out the entire site. But the idea behind the strategy is super, super cool, and I'm really happy to see more of that kind of stuff coming out from Heroic. Yeah,
that'd be interesting. I mean, especially as a sort of relatively new formed team, it's difficult to bring out that sort of stuff. But they made it work perfectly in that round. There are some rare strategies that for some odd reason just don't really get picked off. I mean, like they only happen like once every 100 games or something. I can't even really explain why.
I think it's just like people are in awe of it happening that time, and just like, wow. Well, now everybody knows it. This is like cat's out of the bag. So we can't really go back to it, but I think you're giving too much credit to your opponents at that point. Again, in any case, I think you should be giving yourself a chance to potentially be able to alter the strategy in a way that you can shroud what you are doing initially, so you're not necessarily telegraphing like, oh yeah, we're doing the strat. As you're executing, right? I think teams should be able to give themselves enough credit to do so and not necessarily overestimate their opponents.
Easy enough round there coming in for Heroic. Even if they walked into the stack of players that were on the B-bomb site, just the armor versus no armor competition is never really a fair one. So 8-4 right now. This is a fantastic start for Heroic, and you can tell that MVP are running into the classic CT side problem, which is that they don't have money every other round. They're going to have some in this one, which is good news, but still lacking a bit of the utility, although that ult from Solo, I'd love to see that in play a bit more.
Just hiding behind the smoke here. This could actually catch them with the fast pace Heroic has had. Oh, Freiburg.
That's some heads-up play. He actually saw that coming. Rubino going to be taking down Solo. Sign is next to fallen. Miniseta, even with Rubino jumping around the corner. What a complete shutdown. That awareness from Freiburg is great.
Oh, yeah. And these ace pushes have been so fast. Like, I guess I should say ace splits. They've been so quick from Heroic's side. Really, really fun to see. But yeah, like, you don't expect anyone to be looking behind you as you've ran through his smokes, because you haven't seen any indication. Like, it's a standard smoke to put down to prevent a Molotov or anything like that. It's not an uncommon sight to see, right?
And he's obviously listening as well. He hears the first 2 people coming through. He's thinking, now I can just walk up behind them, and Freiburg is just one step ahead. Good enough attempt there for Glow. I'll tell you what my favorite lost strategy is on this map, which is actually one that Virtus Pro did at some point, which is it's essentially a catwalk rush towards B, but it involves, I think, Neo throwing smoke from outside of the A apartments to the top of connector. And he did that really quickly, so he could smoke sort of inside the A bomb site, top connector. They'd always just smoke the window, then they'd Molotov connector on the other side, and then they'd be up catwalk so quick. So obviously Neo is just the one left outside, the rest are all rushing that. And I only saw it once, and then I think maybe I've seen it attempted one more time and never again, and it's just a little bit of a shame.
We need to bring these stats back. All right, now with Pistols fighting back here, MVP. Got into a 1v2 situation. Well, as I said that as his tag.
That's a very expensive round, all things considered. I don't think Heroic are going to care at this point if they are expensive rounds, but still.
Nico sitting at 16k, same thing for S tag. So yeah, it's not a money issue, but it's good to see that MVP are able to fire back, I guess, in that sense. The question is, if it's off the back of Heroic just being careless or not. But in any case, they're going to get one buy in, and they're actually going to go for the double op setup, and it's not Mini Zeta actually to pick it up either.
Yeah, so maybe deliberate plan, loss of confidence. Like maybe we'll just never know, but definitely a little bit curious. Solo unable to get the shot, although the idea was quite good. Now let's see if that double AWP setup is going to be making a big difference here. Obviously does not exactly invite you to play more aggressively, but it can do this for you, which having the 1B defender and having more of a presence in mid, which is great news.
Absolutely. So Glows should be able to just fire off at least one shot and then have a rotation coming in from Zine before Heroic really gets a chance to actually execute on it. From the looks of it, Heroic setting up with a couple of smokes, at least inside of B-apps, but you can see the rotation coming in from at least 3 of the players through underpass. Seth is not really in a position to do a whole lot necessarily unless they want to boost up into mid, so there's a limit to how useful they can be in this kind of a scenario. And the timing might catch him off as well. Yeah,
when he goes back to check it, although Modi's turning around now. This is just a bit of a coin flip, and it turns out Modi is going to have the better timing, so a really good boost coming up from Heroic here in round number 15. And right now, MVP not exactly loving life. The 2 players on the A-bomb side there, they are just going to get, especially the Shadow player, probably going to get shut down very, very quickly. Mini Setter is going to get killed by his tag, but even if he got that kill, there would have been 3 more people there to follow up that Solo couldn't have done anything about. Molotoving him out. They're still fighting a little bit, and actually Glow is going to be able to pick up a kill long range. Heroic is slowing down a lot, and that might actually just get them killed in this scenario. Nico going to be going down, and Modi's still waiting. Obviously, he wants to... It's not Modi's fault. He has to actually control that window. That's I think, the sign of sort of a newish team, because Heroic had all of the chips on the board. That there's nothing they needed to do more than what they already had done. And then they just could have stopped in the middle of the bomb site. They got shot from Catwalk. 2 players lost there, and not even a bomb plant. That's a real mistake. Yeah, and one of the things Heroic had done so well was their executions were extremely rapid leading up to this point. I think they ended up in a situation where they had 2 Molotovs and no smokes as they wanted to get control over the bomb site. And with Solo posted up towards spawn, they didn't really feel comfortable doing anything at all. And that's what gives Glow the opportunity to actually sneak back and find that kill. Yeah, you're right. You can even see it on the replay. They actually were lacking the smokes. So, yeah, bit of a... But then somebody has to make a different decision, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a blunder from Heroic, but they've been doing pretty well for themselves up to this point. So, you'll give them that. Yeah, benefit of the doubt. And look at what this is set up for MVP is. They have a fair amount of utility here. Yeah, Glow right now, setting up for something interesting. See, I'm not curious if this is going to be affected by the skyboxes or not, or if this is going to bank off the wall. Again, it's always a bit interesting to see how that works out with CSGO models. I guess this would be for Catwalk, because I think if he aims at the top of the very top of the tower, it's going to go to the kitchen window. But I think this is going to be a little bit further to the left, I guess. So. And before he doesn't realize that skyboxes has been removed and smoke just goes somewhere completely different. Actually, you actually could be right. That actually could be the thing. Let's just figure out what's going to happen here. We'll just wait and see how it actually lands. But they do have 4 members on this side, Heroic. So whatever the plan is right now for MVP, if they rush into this bomb site, Heroic have pretty much all of the chances of doing it. Yeah, it's going to bounce up. Yeah. So that makes perfect sense. That's going to maybe put one of the Heroic players out of position for a little bit. Although Freiburg hitting a great headshot. Another one to follow up. Great work from Freiburg. And Rubino going to chime in. Just absolutely great combination here. The Swedes and the Norwegian player just having a good time. 11-5. And Heroic winning that round. I think that's going to make life very hard for MVP. You can tell, already as the execution comes in, there's 4 players around that B bomb set for Heroic. MVP legitimately sat still for 1 minute and 10 seconds in B-apps. Not grabbing any map control, not preventing any map control. Literally sitting in B-apps, waiting for their time to strike. It was we'd go at 43. Yeah. That was pretty much their entire plan, and that doesn't really work out. Heroic are going to sniff that out too soon. I mean, another problem is, what if Heroic had pushed, A ramp or something? You just don't know about that, so... You gotta be careful. Yeah. Also the fact that I'm pretty sure Glow bungled up his second flash that he was supposed to throw. He got the first one off at the right time, but then did a quick switch instead of flashing it out. So he has to throw his second flash late, and that's in that little gap of time, that's when you see Freiburg getting to kills. It also means that S-Attack is not going to be flashed at all back by Forest.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you only have like 3 grenades to throw,
make them count.
They definitely have to count, right? Especially in the pistol round. So a bit of a shame. This round, 2 of them already lost at top mid, and since I think the bomb is back in T-spawn,
it is.
It's not exactly clear to me what the point is. Look at this PGL production. How do they know so quickly? I don't
just got cameras everywhere.
I just said it 1 second.
It's NSA.
Oh my God. It is. 11-5.
Oh, they're on point.
Yeah, really, really good job at the moment here. And again, not losing players early on here when you're on the CT side, it really does make a big difference. You want to be able to build that economy, so even if they weren't ever going to be close to losing this round, the fact that they only lose Muddy is great news.
Yeah, no, that's it's not a bad job at all, especially with S tag just pretty much straight off the bat in the round going down to 22 HP. Could have very easily gotten overzealous and gone down as well. That would have been a FAMAS loss. But yeah, MVP, again, as you mentioned, with bomb dropped in T-spawn, no real hope of actually getting a lucky bomb plan in there or anything like that. And that leads them to have a full eco. Not really the time of day that you want to see this from MVP. You kind of had hopes that they would be able to get into the second half pretty immediately.
Yeah, if you're in the pistol, I think especially on the T side, it'd be fun to see what they can bring. Because obviously you're not the one who's going to be taking the initiative most of the time when you're playing the CT side. So maybe for the Korean team that would make a difference that they could have a real start. Freiburg just tapping away with the
Freiburg got
MP7.
headshotted 4 times there.
Just doesn't care.
Well, definitely loving that new price reduction to the MP7. It's going to net him 2 kills. Zeph's already pretty low on. Rubino figures what Freiburg can do. He can do better. For right now, obviously no real plan for MVP to actually get into the bomb plan or anything of use out of this round. I think the bigger likelihood right now is that they're just kind of talking about what they want to do in the supply round. It's actually taking a bit of damage.
Yeah, more than you maybe wish. Oh no! I think
here he comes.
No boost happening. Rubina going to be able to get the kill. So 13-5. There's a little part of me that that wishes that we're going to see Heroic versus Nip at some point in this tournament.
Oh,
like
just to see Freiburg versus...
Like, I actually don't think there's like any kind of like personal grudge going on, but it just would be fun, you know. Just
we can make up that story, right?
Yeah.
Like, definitely like hardships between them. They all hate each other.
There is something fun about, you know, because obviously Nip has gone through a few iterations since Freiburg left, but there's always that thing about like knowing tendencies, you know, like you know how they play, how they like to play, all these things that could be interesting. First time MVP have AKs, and already Heroic putting on a lot of pressure. Double push into middle deck. 3 people coming up underpass. Is it going to be enough to catch them? It will. Miniseta doing a great job taking down 2. Rubino with the 1 return, but triple kill now coming through here for the Korean player. This is great news. That could have been lethal for Heroic, but the fact that they had that 3-man push in underpass, that was too much to handle.
Oh, Miniseta's going to find a 4th as well. Freiburg, I think he just went off a radar there. As the smoke dissipates. Just hopes for the best. But look at Madi. He's gotten in between the 2 squads from the MVP side. Oh, he's going to find both as well. He's going to be able to pick up an AK too.
That's devastating now. He has no idea where Cyan is, which may be the only advantage right now.
Bomb, though, is that have dropped in such a good position for him. He's playing this really well. And again, yeah, he has no idea where Zion is, but kind of goes the same direction right now. Zion has no idea if he's playing close by mid, if he's playing close up to apartments, if he has bailed completely out, which is the case for Madi right now. He's just left that bomb completely.
I actually had this conversation with Sean Gales yesterday, which we tried to like come up with a concept for how long after you've got a piece of information till it's no longer really valid. Like we just started calling it information decay essentially, because I guess that's what it is, you know. And in Counter-Strike, it's so quick, you know. Like it's 10 seconds after you've seen somebody or heard something, it's like
it's a lifetime, right?
That really is a lifetime. Like a lot can happen. So right now, it looks like Modi is just an outright genius that has figured out that it's an A plant and has managed to sneak himself into a really good position. That's a straight headshot. That's a beautiful 1 versus 1 for Modi. I mean, some part of this is obviously a bit of a coin flip, but when you do that perfectly, it does look great.
It really does. I mean, Yeah, no, it can very easily play very incorrectly for you. Like, you can assume that, well, I've already gone back towards the B side. There's no way he's coming here now, so you started the early rotation. Bomb gets planted at B, and you look like an idiot. But no, that was definitely the right play from Madi there. The shot's not half bad either, is it?
That's really good.
Shame for Mini Zeta, though. The first time he kind of gets to showcase himself a little bit, finds a 4K, but then Madi responds with the 3 on his own.
Especially because he got into the T spawn, right? So
yeah.
they were just going to, I think they were going to throw grenades. Actually, it would have been cool. They would have thrown grenades into B and then reconnected to the A-bomb side. And then they just it gets all stolen from them. There's Tag, going to get one big kill there. Modi, oh, that's a great lane shot. He knows it, but Mini Setter trying to get the quick return. He's only going to get the one before he gets shut down. And now Sign trying to see if he can do anything at this point here. Would be a 1 versus 3 if he could. He's already picked up the first kill, and he's got plenty of time. Although he is kind of weirdly boxed in. Yeah,
Freiburg's. Now, Rubino's been super early on the wraparound here. And he's, once again, it's going to be like running into the open arm for heroic players.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was just a loss of map control at the end, but yeah, great aggressive opening in the apartment for S-Tag. And I think that's, you know, young player again. You want to see that kind of confidence come out a little bit early on. So it's kind of 15-5.
I love the fact that S-Tag has kind of picked up them off more and more after you left, which I guess, you know, you fill a gap at that point. But it's weird to me that you never really saw it before. Like, even before you came into the team, it's just, you never really saw S-Tag as an offer at any given point. But now he's just showcased that he's very proficient with it.
Well, also, I mean, when you do have Yugi in the team, there's just a big chance you're going to get completely outshined.
That is true. But you would have been, like, maybe your secondary offer, but then Snappy took that role instead. And yeah, it was just kind of a funky. Oh god, yeah, everything's going from bad to worse.
Falling back down, getting reloaded. He's going to get overrun, essentially. He had a slightly wrong read of how close they were, and Rubino's going to go down as well. Seth having a good double opening there. See if they can do even more. Seth pushing up. Oh, did S-Tag see? I'm not sure he realized where that grenade came from.
The scope was definitely heard by Zeph, though.
Yeah, he knows. Grenade doesn't do all that much. S-Tag flashing in, but not checking the corner. Seth going to get one more kill before he goes down. Great triple for him, and Mini Setter trying to help out. So now it's all on Modi, and he saved them once before. You know, 1 versus 3. Now it's going to get a little bit different because the bomb is already down. Sneak in somehow and get that kill. It's incredible. Modi actually looking for the kill. He knows where Solo is, or at least it seems like it. Not going to be able to get the rifle out in time for the jump, and that's going to be 6-15 here. So still very, very close. Modi actually just very focused at the moment, you can tell.
Definitely. He was on that. And it's very scary considering how everything has kind of just gone the direction of Heroic. You would you're starting to assume, you're starting to believe that Madi is going to be able to close that out as well. The MVP finally grab a T-side round here. Much needed one. They're not even going to have the greatest of buys coming into the following round. 2 Galils on their side, not a ton of utility really. And if you're looking at Heroic, they're the ones with a better buy. Like, yeah, sure, their utility is limited as well, but they've been so proactive and aggressive that rounds have not necessarily come down to afterplan, you know, retakes scenarios or something, because Heroic have been out and about on the map, just limiting the kind of space that MVP has to work with.
S-Tag with the scout playing into the middle.
Nico as well, though.
Yeah, and I think he's firing that scout intentionally. Oh my god, that's such a good idea. They're listening for the scout shot and thinking, well, it's just some guy in window, and then you can even tell as soon as the shots come in, they pull out the grenades. They're ready to say, okay, well, in that case, let's just take mid. And then Nico pounces 2 big headshots coming in, very smooth. That's another way to essentially be faked just by the sound of a gun.
Yeah, and off the back of that, Freiburg's gotten aggressive into B-ups as well. So again, it's map control gain for Heroic, and a lot of information that allows them to stay with 3 players over towards that A bomb site. They don't necessarily have to be that scared of a quick B push.
3 versus 4 here, and MVP trying to hold on to the first map, just trying to see if they can put a little bit more on the board. It seems like Heroic just are bored of playing right now and just want to move on to map number 2. Glow going to be picking up 1 big kill. Sign the last one left. He's going to go down to Modi. It's 16-6 in favor of Heroic. Really powerful beginning. They looked so tuned into this game. So what a great start here to the tournament for the newly formed Heroic.
Yeah, a lot of these teams with roster instability that we've seen so far have actually started off the tournament in pretty convincing fashion. NIP obviously did really well with Lekra in their first matchup. Envy played way better versus Navi than we would have expected, and Heroic now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
We love it. We're going to see how Map Num 2 is going to be played out. It's going to be happening right after the break. So stay with us, and we'll be right back.